How you going, guys? Dean from the Adeptus Victorium here with a little terrain construction tutorial for the bunkers that we use in Adeptus Victorium events. You'll see these at every event that we run. They're really cool kits put together by Miniature Scenery. And yeah, so without further ado, I'm going to get stuck into how we go about constructing one. So first thing you need, PVA. Shitty ghetto paintbrush that you can throw out when you're done because the PVA is going to fuck it. And something pointy to pop out little pieces from the MDF kits. So they're the three components you need. Let's get stuck into construction. So they come in 2 sheets of MDF, like so. So you've got all of the components are all laser cut into the sheets, and the first thing you want to do is just pop them all out. So they're really simple. You just snap, pop all these little bits out, and you get little pieces like that. So I'm just going to go through and pop them all out. So you'll find little pieces like this. I'm not sure if the camera's going to focus on that or not. This is what you want your pen or whatever for, to pop these little squares out. But there's actually very minimal, there's actually no cutting required. Little bits like in the center of that cog there, I want to pop that piece out. But yeah, I find that there's 0 cutting required. If you want to trim them down and maybe get rid of some of the like little tiny bumps on the top there, and you want to make it look really, really nice, you can. But if your goal is simply to smash out, because I'm building 10 tables worth of terrain right now, if your goal is simply to smash out a whole bunch of stuff really fast, and you're not too pedantic about the minutiae of it, then it's fine. So no blade required, in my opinion. So that's one sheet all popped out. You get a lot of these little bits that pop out, and I'm hanging on to them because I think they will make cool like pieces of rubble that I'm going to attach to the bases of the other terrain that I've got lined up. And basically I'm going to go through and break all the pieces off, and then I like to keep them all stacked in neat little piles, so when it comes time to construct the piece, you just grab 2 pieces from here, 2 pieces from there, put it together, just like IKEA flat pack furniture. I don't believe these kits are available on Miniature Scenery right now. However, they will be coming soon as part of a full table set. So you'll have the one set where you get an entire table's worth of terrain. And it's a joint design between myself and Tim Wagstaff from Miniature Scenery, where we've basically been working together to create the most cost-effective set of terrain for those who want a table of terrain but don't want to spend, $600. Something that's cost-effective that anybody can pick it up and get stuck in. All right, so that's all of the pieces popped out. So you'll find you've got this piece here. This is your baseboard, and it's got all these slots, obviously, where bits slot in. This is the top floor of the bunker. And these are the supports. So the first thing you want to do is you want to grab the supports, and I take 2 of them, and just on the bottom of it there, either side of the tab, I'll put a little bit of PVA and slot it in the gap. And I start with 2 opposite sides and slot them in. Then I take the floor, and along the innermost section, which along the inside of this section here, I just put a little bit of PVA, and then it slots. So you can see there's the 2 notches on the sides there. This bit slots in like so. And then it's just a matter of getting the next two walls, putting some on the bottom of the wall and some on the inside of the edge there, and then slotting this one into the bottom and across in. Nice and simple. These are an amazing kit to put together. I'm blown away at how good they look and at how simple they are, which was my goal when I set out. I was like, I want some really cool looking terrain, but if I'm building 20 tables worth in one sitting, essentially, I want it to be easy. I don't want to have to sit here for the next 6 weeks putting together terrain. So that's the structural component finished. Then we go on to bake the little outer skirting bits. So these, I'll just pop out a few extra pieces of stuff. So to build these, you want 2 of these bits. Now you've got to make sure that you get 2 opposite ones. They've got, on one side it's just flat, and on the other side it's got the little square around that fire point. So make sure that you have them so that when they're side by side, they're both flat but mirrored, if that makes sense. You also want one of these pieces, one of these pieces here as well. And then basically what we're going to do is we're going to get the piece with the big square piece with the window, and put some glue on that, and we're going to grab one of these and slot it in so that you've got, on the outside you've got the square around the window and square around that window. Then you want to grab one of these pieces and go blop blop, slot him in there too, and then while you've got it like that, along the edge of both of those 2 pieces that we slotted into the side wall, we do that, and then we put this top piece on to hold it all together. And then you've got a nice little box. And then basically, we now attach that box by gluing all the way along the bottom there. I try not to put glue on the tops of these tabs because they poke straight through, in which case that glue is not actually contacting anything. And then these bits go onto the base into these 2 slots here. So you slot that guy in like so, and then that just sits there, and that's basically the second chunk of the construction. So I'll go through and I'll do those next 4 outer bits, and I'll get right back to you. Okay, so I've now finished all of these outer edges, and when you look on the inside, you can see that you can get inside underneath these edges here. So what we've got is a little piece like this that will slot in to prevent that. So again, just on the bottom there, on these 2 outer inner cuts, I guess you'd call it, we put that slots in there. Basically that completes the inner walls of the bunker. So you got 4 of those, 1 for each spot, so I'm just going to go smash those in now. And that creates a nice internal structure. All done. And then you've got all these outer wall components. So you can see, like here, how there's this crack down here between the internal structure and the external components. So that's where these pieces come in. So you just get this, and I just grab either side of it and just blob some glue on the back. They say more is less when it comes to PVA, so don't go too crazy. And then these bits slot in there. And that way it completes and fills any gaps that you might have, as opposed to this side where there's gaps. I'm a big fan of symmetry, and it's got 2 of these same style components. Call them X-Man doors. That's what I call them. I don't know what Tim calls them. But grab some glue on it, and then basically on the opposite side, I put those two doors so that they're adjacent. Then we've got this piece here. Actually, I'll do this piece first. So this is the actual door for the bunker. So if you're going to use it for having rules where you have to enter it via the door, then this is important. But if you're going to do it just as a line of sight blocking terrain, which is how we'll be using it, it's not as important. But it goes there, and then you've got this nifty little door handle, which, let's put some glue on it and bung it right in the center there. Door handle. And then the last piece to add on is this side, which is actually a ladder. So when I'm doing this one, I put your little blobs in the corner like so, but there's a nifty little trick to make the next step easier, and that is along those 4 or 8 holes, I put some glue. And that way, when we stick it on, which is going to go on this side here, when we stick that on, all those holes will have glue in them now, which allows us to put our ladder steps on without requiring any additional gluing. Done. So now we've got a ladder, all 4 doors, everything's done. It's one Adeptus Victorium bunker completed in under 15 minutes. And basically, it's a really simple kit. I wish I had some miniatures with me for scale. In fact, I'll go grab one. Terminator. And I knocked over my chair. So, it's perfect height for hiding. A small unit of 5 guys could hide behind it. They can obviously fit on top and get the benefits of cover. And yeah, that sums it up. Thank you. Alrighty guys, turns out I had a little bit extra time up my sleeve, so I thought, why not, while we're here, build a ruin as well. So this is another set of the terrain that will be coming with the Adeptus Victorium tournament kit. And just the same as with the bunker kit that we just built together, this one requires no cutting and no real major prep work at all. So first thing we're going to do, same as what we did with the bunker. So we're going to pop out all these components and get our sections. These ones are super easy to build, and they're done in a very smart design where in areas where we've got bits that pop out, Tim's designed them so that you can either remove them completely or you can glue them in like slightly off angle so that it looks cracked and broken, or you can use them on the floor as pieces of rubble, I should say. So there's 3 different designs for the ruins. There's one that's a tall 3-story building, and then 2 that are shorter 1-story buildings. And each one of these, each table I should say, is going to have 3 of each in the single story, so 6 pieces of ruins, and 1 tall piece of ruins. And also, each piece is going to have, each table, is going to have 2 bunkers. So it's a total of 6, 7, 8, it's nearly 10 pieces of terrain per table, which should make for a pretty comprehensive setup. So when building these, first thing you want to do is figure out which piece goes where, and you can figure that out by simply lining up the slots. One wall has 4 slots, one wall has 3. Nice and simple. So you line up your 3s and your 4s and slot them together. So you'll find that one of them, the how do I do this? You'll see that the wall's edge goes straight to the floor's edge, joins up perfectly with the wall, right? Whereas if you do it on the other side, there's a slight, I don't know if you can see it, but there's a slight lip. So I advise going on this side first, where it lines up perfectly, because that'll make slotting it together a little bit easier. And then you just, same thing, pop some glue on the inside there, slot it in, and then grab some more glue, and then coat this side with it as well. So along the inner edges of the floor, as well as all the way down the wall. So, and then get the next wall, and because this now slots in nicely, we should be able to just go bang, bang, and that'll hold together nicely. It's also worth noting that down the bottom here, you can see that they are crisscross down there, so that it slots in from both directions, which is important. And then there's also a baseboard that this comes with that's not too dissimilar from this. So, baseboard that terrain slots onto. In addition to that, there's a few extra details available. So we've got skirting down here, and you can tell where the skirting goes because on this side you'll notice that there's the shape of the edge doesn't match up with the shape of that edge, and that's how we know that this piece goes on this side. So we'll glue that guy on, and you'll also notice that it hangs over the edge. Hangs over the edge that slightest bit, and that's so that when we put these pieces on, they will slot in hard up against it. So I'm going to start putting some glue on these guys and getting it in. And you'll probably notice that I'm 100% not letting things dry before I move on to the next piece. That's just me being impatient more than anything. But it is fine, because what you'll do once you've got all the pieces put together and some glue on them, I'm going to put it on the baseboard, and that will hold it all together while it dries. So this is more of a fast, get it all on there, get it all glued, so that you can then sort of lock it in, so to speak, with the other stuff. So we got. I always think it's also a good idea to just lay your pieces out, just to make sure that you aren't missing anything before you start gluing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then the end piece. Beautiful. So those pieces that I've just lined up there will go along the front face there. So what I'm actually going to do for that is I'm going to tilt up like this, grab some glue, and just coat that whole facing in glue, and then just start slotting these guys on. Now the kit does come with a ton of widgets and various things that you can add just to give your buildings a little bit more detail. So for example, there's doors that you can use to slot on. So there's, on the kit you'll see there's doors. Actually, I should do it this way around. There's a door there, there's another door there, there's a little vent here. So there's all of these little extra details that you can add on to give it a bit more of an interesting look. So with the taller building, there's lots of these little window inserts that pop out. So what I've been doing for mine is taking these little inserts, the window inserts, and using them to further enhance the Gothic look of the building by attaching them down there. and it makes the building look a little thicker, makes it look less just like a shape cut out of MDF and more like a nice detailed thick building. And I've been saving them from the other kits, which it might take me a minute to dig those out, so I'll do that later, at a later stage. But basically I put one in between each window, and in a section like that where it's broken, I'll just cut it so that it fits nicely. But yeah, that's more or less what the end result's going to be. This is one that I finished earlier. Yeah, the idea is that in between each window you'll have a strut of sorts, and then also on the inside you can see this is one of the, so there's an A, B and a C design. This is the B design, which has 2 floors. This is the A design, which just has 1 floor. And then this is the C design, which is significantly taller. So there you have it, guys. One Adeptus Victorium bunker. Very easy to build, very quick to build, perfect height for hiding a unit, small unit inside, small unit behind it. One of the other things is due to the these edge bits, if you put a model in here, they're not only protected from that direct line, but they'll also be protected from angles as well. So it's very good for if somebody kills, like you've got a unit up in here, 6 guys, somebody kills 5 of them, you've got 1 left, it's very easy for him to go, fuck this, climb down the ladder and hide behind here, and it'll be very hard for them to draw line of sight on him. So it's just a nice little piece. Also, just while I'm talking about terrain for the Adeptus Victorium Circuit, I'm currently in the process of building 10 tables worth here at House of War, all of which are supplied by Miniature Scenery, so make sure you head over to their website and Facebook, give them a like, check them out, all that sort of shit. But basically they're going to be all the same amount of terrain on every table, and it's going to be the same type of terrain on every table, which is going to mean that when you attend an Adeptus Victorium event, you're guaranteed to get consistent and fair distribution of terrain. You're never going to have a situation where you get to a table and you're like, wow, there is nowhere for me to hide on this table, I am fucked. And you're never going to get a situation where you go, wow, there is too much terrain on this table, I can't move. Every table is going to have the same, and they're all going to be balanced. So yeah, and you might be thinking, oh, if you have every table the same, it's going to be boring as fuck, but we're going to make sure that that's not the case, because we're going to paint some of them up like City Fight, and for that we're going to have roads marked down and various bits and pieces like street lamps and that sort of shit, just to give it a bit more of a theme. And then other ones will be done desert style, so instead of having the roads, you'll have maybe some hills and some sand dunes and stuff like that, and that'll also give it a different look and a different feel. And then we're going to have some with snow, where we're going to paint on like ice lakes and stuff like that into the snow. And then we're going to have some that are swamp, which are going to have some bushes and trees and stuff added to them. And then we're going to have some that are like an ash wasteland, which are going to have like volcanic activity and big cracks through the ground and stuff like that. So while functional, all terrain will be the same, all tables will be the same, there will be a very distinct theme and feel to the tables that will give them a unique experience for the player. So yeah, we're in the process. Hopefully should be finished construction within the next couple of days, and then we're going to get onto painting, but I'll definitely keep you guys posted as we go.